Good morning, this is Ann Fillmore, and I'd like to just give you a brief comparison of my English 1010 course, which I have adapted and kind of modified to incorporate place. And this is the learning community, the common intellectual experience that I do with Adam Dastrup's natural disasters course. So I wanted to show you just how I've modified the curriculum to incorporate place in writing studies. If you have read my teaching narrative, I do have kind of this chart right here that talks about place. And I just wanted to demonstrate here how here's the regular OER curriculum as well as how I have modified it to include place. So what I'll talk about in this video is basically projects 1 and 2 because we completed project 1 and project 2 we are engaged in right now. So in project 1 in the general curriculum, students do a self-study where they look at 3 or more textual artifacts they have written in the past. They do an analysis and make a conclusion about themselves as writers, their characteristics, their routines, rituals, strengths, weaknesses, all of those things. So we do that as actually project 2, and I'll tell you how we modify that. Project 1 is actually one of the assignments that is within the curriculum for OER where students analyze examples of public writing in the world, and this gets really to a few of the threshold concepts. Let me go down. This assignment really, has students engage with 3 of the concepts. Writing is a resource people use to do things, be things, and make things in the world. Rhetoric provides a method for studying the work that language and writing do. And contingency, the meanings and the effects of writing are contingent on situation, readers, purposes, etc. So those situational context. So let me go back to here. So for project 1 in the cohort, students each choose a place and then do a rhetorical analysis of 5 different kinds of public writing within that space. And this has been a pretty cool assignment. Actually, I could show you, for example, here is one student's where where was his place? Let's see. Okay, we have Zamboni. So this is Zamboni's sign right here. And you can see he goes down, more Zamboni, does the rhetorical analysis, adds some humor in there, right? So this is all about that. Includes some good graphics, some text basically showing what this does in the world, right? As well as the choices that the designer and the author make in designing these artifacts, whatever they may be. So you can see there's, mention of colors, there's text, there's layout, etc. So we have some more. So that's one of them. So I can't remember what his place is, but obviously it's one of the ones where the Grizzlies play. Okay. There we go. There's another example here that's pretty fun. This is a student that did the Westerner. And so he chose, an ad on Facebook, hiring, and analyzed that. The logo, a sign that was just in the bar. I think this is by the pool area, right? It's just kind of fun. So this was a fun assignment. Let's go back to modules. I'll go like this. So they spend the first few weeks on this because we're really looking at rhetoric and then just the rhetorical choices that people make and what motivates them to actually make those choices. Just knowing that each choice has a lot of reflection behind it. They're big decisions when you're publishing these artifacts. So that is the first assignment. We are in the second assignment right now, the second project actually, which is a self-study. This one lasts for 4 weeks because it's pretty detailed. It's pretty, in some ways, intense, but just because they're doing a self-analysis. So I mentioned what Project 1 was here, how they analyze prior writing, but what they do in the modified common intellectual experience is, since we're looking at place, we have 5 different themes for place, okay? And we have home, nature, culture, play, and chaos. And I have a brief definition of each, which I'll show you. And then the students go to that place physically. They log their location. They observe their surroundings in pre-writing activity, and they log, basically their emotions, how they feel, just personal, like how they're approaching the writing assignment, how the place affects them, etc. But this says students engage in various writing activities in 5 different locations in order to analyze the effects of place on their writing. So they collect data in each place, and then they'll analyze that to basically come to the conclusion of how place influences their writing and thinking processes, but also their place identity, which we're looking at here. So if we go to, we're in Unit 2, the self-study. I usually have an overview of the whole kind of unit here, the whole project, right? So you see, we talk about Project 1, then we go into Project 2. You can see Project 1, how did place and situational context influence the rhetorical choices of the author-designer in order to help people do things, be things, and make things in the world. But in Project 2, you'll delve deeper as you analyze your own writing in a number of different places in order to determine how place influences your writing and your identity. Again, studying place identity. So we go over qualitative research as well as the methodology we will use. So the methods we will use is collecting the textual artifacts, engaging in self-observation, journaling and reflection, and artistic compositions. And these are the same methods that are used in the regular 1010 OER. And then I list the activities that kind of they'll be collecting, how they'll collect those artifacts, that evidence. So these are the places, or the different themes, right? And so students choose, like everyone does their home, but nature, a place representing the physical world, etc. So students can choose their own place that they go to for nature, right? Then I'll show you the prompts. But I go through the specifics of the activity. The assignment specifics are actually the same as the regular OER. In addition, we will be doing a class map. So as they log their locations for these themes, these places that they choose, the class has a login and password to ArcGIS. It's an open source map of Utah, and they plot their points. So what's cool is we'll be able to see, like for the nature spot or the home, well, number one, where the students live, and these are all anonymous, so we won't know which students are which because we all have the same login. We'll be able to see where they all live and call home. We'll be able to see what locations the students choose for nature or for play or for culture or for chaos, a place representing disorder, disruption, and our confusion. And these are some of the themes that we actually came together as a class as we were brainstorming words that are used to describe place, and we kind of came to those themes. So here we go. We're also working on our strengths, but I'm not going to go over that right here. So they're reading about the power of place, and then you'll see they have self-study artifacts. So place and identity, okay, that's a reading. Then they have nature and play. So in each location, again, doing a 20-minute free write. Let's just open this up. They're all the same, basically, except for the theme. So how does place affect your writing? That appears on all of the different assignments. In this assignment, you will consider the power of nature on your identity and your writing. So then, and this is my view, of course. The students is much bigger. Let's see. Then the steps in collecting all the artifacts are exactly the same. So they need to be physically present at that location they choose. And then I have the definition, right here of the theme. they need to complete a pre-writing activity, but they can do that in different ways. So basically to document the surroundings, feelings, mood, or other thoughts related to the place so that it will help to bring them back to that situation when they're actually writing their analysis, right? So that's, here, of course, they can videotape, tape record themselves, or a written log. Okay, so they have the choice there. And then this is the same prompt. How does this place in nature, or how does this place, if it's how does your home shape and reflect who you are? How does, so this is basically the same prompt for all of the artifacts. And then they keep the 20 minutes sharp just so that they can compare, and they'll be more reliable. And then they also take photos of their surroundings and then to, again, help them bring back to the place. And then I have them also submit it on Canvas just to get them going step by step. So they don't do it all last minute. So basically they're getting points just for doing all of those activities to help them collect the artifacts. So let's see, actually, let's go. This is still Unit 1. So they work on that. They do 2 a week, so this week they're doing the artifacts for nature and play. Next week it will be culture and chaos. We have time in class. We'll be going through the writing processes, planning and drafting their self-study. And then they go through 2 drafts in class with peer review, as well as, encouraged to go to the writing center. So it's a self-study analysis. They'll essentially be analyzing the effects of place on their writing and also coming to an understanding of their place identity as is defined by kind of this reading here, place and identity. Yeah. We talk about a place attachment, sense of place, all of those things. So that's pretty cool. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I'm also really excited to see how the class map turns out. So you'll see right before spring break, they have their self-study analysis due, and then they plot their points on the map. They do kind of a detail, for their reflection, they look at, let's go here. Let's just go on to it. What were the most significant insights you learned about yourself from your self-study? And insights can come from any part of the process, from collecting the artifacts to writing in the various places, putting it together, or reading the final product as a whole. Then what theme or place had the biggest impact or was most meaningful to you as a writer? Why? Explain. And then we have been doing Gallup's strengths in class. So I didn't go into that, but you can see how we're, pulling it into the reflection. To go back to the strengths report, what roles did your identified strengths play in your self-study? Think about your process as a whole from start to finish. Where do you see your strengths present in the process? And on the other hand, where could you have better incorporated your strengths into your self-study, and how will you utilize your strengths more effectively in your future assignments? So that kind of goes through projects 1 and 2. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for tuning in.